Mr. Jelly by Roger Hargreaves. Poor Mr. Jelly was frightened of everything and everything. At the slightest little thing he would quiver and trouble and shake and turned into jelly. So it's not really surprising to find that Mr. Jelly lives as far away from everybody as possible. In the middle of the wood, miles and miles from anywhere. This story begins one morning when Mr. Jelly was asleep. It was a beautiful autumn day. The sun was shining. The leaves and trees had turned into glorious red, and the wind sneaked gently in the treetops. A single leaf fell gently from a tree right outside Mr. Jelly's house and quietly brushed against his bedroom as fell. Mr. Jelly awake. "What's that terrible noise?" he cried. "Oh, heaven! The house is falling down! Oh, disaster! It's an earthquake! Oh, clemency! It's the end of the world!" And he hid under the bedclothes, trembling. The front. After an hour, by which time he realized that his house wasn't falling down, there was an earthquake, and word isn't coming to when Mr. Jelly peeked out under his bedclothes. "Phew, phew," he said. "Thank goodness for that." And he got and went downstairs to make breakfast. Mr. Jelly poured some cornflakes into a pack of a bowl, and poured some milk on the cornflakes. Then he went to the cupboard to get some sugar. Crackle, crackle went the cornflakes and the milk. "Oh goodness, oh goodness," said Mr. Jelly, diving under the kitchen table. "Oh dear goodness, oh clumsy! It's right," but of course it wasn't. And of course, Mr. Jelly eventually came out from underneath the table and ate up all his cornflakes. After breakfast, Mr. Jelly thought that he'd go for a walk. He was walking through the wood and which started his house while Worm poked his head out of the ground. "Morning," said Worm cheerily to Mr. Jelly. Mr. Jelly nearly jumped out his sleep. "What is there? Who's there?" And so the Worm. "Oh heavens, it's a snake! Oh dear, oh man, eating snake! Oh clumsy, I'm going to be eaten alive!" And he jumped up into a tree. What a performance! Coming, the Worm went back into his hole. After an hour, Mr. Jelly felt brave enough to climb down from the tree and continue his walk. Eventually, he came out of the other side of the wood and into a field. Mr. Jelly glanced nervously around. It was an empty field, or was it? Long grass. In the middle of the field, used by Mr. Jelly, there was a tramp enjoying sleep in the autumn sunshine. Mr. Jelly picked his way closely through the grass. The tramp fast asleep and snored. "What was that?" screamed Mr. Jelly. It's a lion. I heard it growl. Oh, goodness. Go graduous. Oh, dear me. A lion, a huge lion. Huge lion with enormous teeth. A big lion with sharp teeth. That's going to bite me into two. His vigorous lion with enormous sharp teeth. That's going to bite me into two, if not three. And he finished. This is the comet await the tramp. A long stretch set up and saw Mr. Jelly lying on the ground beside him. Oh dear, he said, for he was a kind tramp. Oh dear, may pick Mr. Jelly and place him gently and punish him. And Mr. Jelly come to and sat up, rubbing his eyes, then saw the tramp face look at him. Oh, disaster! The tramp! She screamed. Oh, clumsy, it's a giant. Notice. Oh, tramp, he's going to have me for breakfast. My, said the tramp gently. You're a nervous little chap, aren't you? What's your name? Mr. Jelly, snapped Mr. Jelly. I usually be nervous like you, said the tramp, but I learned how to not to be. Would you like me to tell you the secret? Mr. Jelly cried and shook and said, yeah, yes. Please. It's very simple, continued the tramp. All you have to do is count up to 10, and you'll find that whatever is further you count isn't quite so fun after all. Then he sat Mr. Jelly gently down on the grass. Remember, he said to Mr. Jelly, count to 10, and off he went. Mr. Jelly thought that was a very good idea. He went home immediately. Back across the field, went back through the woods he went. He was walking through the woods when he stepped on a little twig. Snap went the twig. Mr. Jelly jumped twice on his hind tail. What was that? He screamed. That was a terrible snappy noise. It's a tree falling down. That's going to crack me into pieces. Oh, clumsily, it's a crocodile hiding in the bushes, snapping its teeth. Oh, disaster! Then he stopped it, and he took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, he said. And then he saw that what he'd gone snapped was a twig, a silly old twig. Phew, he said. Mr. Jelly has almost reached his house when a leaf fall drifted gently down from the tree on top of him. Help, please, murderers, he screamed. I am beginning to turn up. Oh, clumsy, it's the robbers with guns. They're going to... And he stopped it and took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he saw that what had fallen on him was only a leaf. Nothing but a leaf. A stupid red leaf. It cracks, he said, out loud in wonderment. And do you know, it did work. After that moment, Mr. Jelly became a changed man. Well, you can see that by looking at him, can't you? And he shrieks, or strikes, or strunks, or screams, or quavers, or shakes, or terrible anymore. And he never hides under the bedclothes anymore. Well, not very often anyway. The end. When lions feel peace and silence thunder, voices and things. And